Let's take these kids app icons and turn them into horror, starting with the Kidjo Games app. First, I dragged in the original icon and started rebuilding all the shapes from scratch. I recreated the main controller shape, then exaggerated the mouth to give it a bigger and more unsettling smile. After that, I recreated the buttons on the right side and gave them drop shadows so they actually felt like physical buttons instead of flat shapes. Same thing on the left side. Rebuilt the directional buttons and added shadows there too. Then I started working on the eyes. Once the eyes were in place, I added the cable attached to the controller and gave that shadows and highlights so it didn't feel that flat. After that, I went over the entire controller with shadows and highlights, which is where it really started to come alive. I dropped in glowing red eyes inside the sockets to keep it playful but slightly unsettling. I added shadows to the buttons and worked on the mouth. I first thought it was cool to keep the teeth on the outside of the mouth, but it didn't go as planned. It just looked better inside. Who would have thought? Once that was done, I added texture to the controller to make it feel dirty and used instead of clean and plastic. Then I added some light blood details, then finished everything with a gradient background and a camera raw filter. And that is Kidjo Games turned into horror. Okay, that was the easy one because everything after this starts changing fast. Next up is Migga World. The original icon is very friendly, so the first thing I did was completely replace the eyes and the smile with my own shapes, sharper and more aggressive, and way less friendly because, according to my channel, I have lost touch with humanity. Anyways, then I added glowing eyes again, then placed teeth inside the mouth and started shaping the face using shadows first and highlights second. After that, I moved on to the UFO. I removed the original face inside it and rebuilt the UFO from scratch using shapes. I added a rough metal texture, warped it into place to give it depth, and then layered highlights on top of it so it didn't feel flat. Once the face was done, I added a texture to it, a dirt-like texture to make it feel grimy and worn. Then I traced the lightning-shaped detail from the original icon and turned it into a scar, almost like torn skin. After that, I worked on the ear, the neck, and the hair. Let's turn this into a quick montage. Alright, welcome back. Now I added the red hoodie, warped it into place, and then started working on the background. I added red smoke, light rays coming from the UFO, and blended everything together so it felt atmospheric instead of flat. To make the UFO feel more alive, I added an eye inside it, built the shape, added shadows, and gave it a glowing laser-like center, because honestly, without that it just looked like a floating metal hat. Then I added subtle blood to the eyes, finished everything with a camera raw filter, and that was Migga World. Like this video if you don't want a controller to eat your fingers tonight. Thank you! Alright, and this is where it stops looking like normal kids apps. We're not even halfway yet, and the next ones are probably going to ruin your sleep tonight. For this one, I wanted it to feel wrong. I started by darkening the outside of the icon, and then I added an eye I pulled in and color corrected to a sickly yellow tone. I boosted contrast, added shadows under the eye, and then started shaping the area around it with highlights so it actually felt embedded into the face. After that, I added a dirt texture to make everything less clean, adjusted the color balance, and desaturated the eye so it didn't feel too colorful. I turned the teeth yellow, added shadows to them, and then reshaped the face by adding shadows between the eyes and mouth to break up that square look. Then I added the tongue, which was absolutely disgusting. I warped it into place, added shallows, color corrected it, and then started adding blood around the mouth and inside it. I erased parts of the blood so it didn't look overdone, added circular blood around the eye, and placed blood on the upper teeth so it actually made sense. After a final camera raw filter, this one stopped feeling like a kid's icon entirely. Everything up to now was still holding back. I knew the last one had to feel epic, so I started by recreating the Roblox logo from scratch, a clean square with a square cutout so it would hold up in high detail. I added a metal texture, layered shadows, and highlights to make it feel heavy and industrial. Then I built the side of the logo to give it a full 3D look, darkened the metal, and added more highlights so it wouldn't blend into the background. I did the same for the inner cutout, and then I started building the environment. I added a floor, color corrected it, and repainted the shadows so they matched the blue tone scene. I added smoke for atmosphere and pushed the highlights on the icon so it stood out. Then I color corrected the entire logo so it actually matched the scene. And I mean, it felt like finally getting rid of that buzzing fly that's been bugging you for days. Inside the cutout, I placed an apocalyptic world. I removed the original character, I replaced it with a custom Roblox character, color corrected him, and blurred the background so the focus stayed on the icon. I added orange bloom coming from the inside of the cube to contrast the blue exterior scarier. At this point, I wanted it to feel dangerous because it didn't really feel horror yet, so I added cracked metal, burnt edges, and vein-like details around the opening. This wouldn't be a Marcus video if I didn't forget to turn on the recording at least once, so here you go, nasty, horrific veins. I finished it by pushing highlights from the orange world onto the metal edges and wrapped everything up with a camera raw filter, and that was Roblox but horror. Let me know which one you thought was more horrific, and by the way, 2 of the icons in this video were requested in the comments. If you would like yours to be made next, feel free to do the same. And if you enjoyed this, you might want to watch this next.